Everyone, so it's the end of week 5 of my book challenge, and I finished the book that I've been reading this week yesterday. But after reading it, I was a bit of an emotional wreck, and I was a bit of a mess. So I decided, let's just give it a breather, wait until the next day to make this video. So here I am this morning talking to you about Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird. Now, this is a book that is so well known. I'm pretty sure you all know about it, but just in case, it follows a girl called Scout, Scout Finch. Well, Jean Louise Finch, I say, but everyone calls her Scout, and her brother Jem in Alabama in the 1930s, sort of late 20s, early 30s, and they live with their father Atticus. And it's all about them, their lives. It's spaced over about 2-3 years, and events that happen to them, and also it mainly focuses on their perspective of a case that their father is involved with. He's a lawyer, and he is being employed to defend a man called Tom Robinson, a black man who is accused of raping a white woman. And it's all about relating to racism of in their hometown, and the effects of their father having to defend this man, how they are referred to, how there's a lot of language that's very politically incorrect now, but of course at the time it wouldn't have been so shocking, but then being called things in the playground, and trying to understand what the world is about. And especially it's very interesting because Scout's older brother Jem is 4 years older, and how he sees the whole situation is very different from how Scout sees the whole situation because of that age gap. And it's a very, very interesting read. I mean, I first read this when I was about 14. And I absolutely loved it then, and I've read it a few times since, but not like every single year or anything. It's just now and then. And I have to say, this is the first time I think that at least that I can remember, where I finished reading this book and I found myself absolutely bawling my eyes out. And it kind of confused me, because I don't know why. I've read it before. I knew what was going to happen. I know the story like the back of my hand. But yeah, I found myself absolutely crying my eyes out, and I think it was the whole thing of Scout's connection to a character called Boo Radley. Now, Boo Radley is a man who lives down the street. He never leaves his house. He's a madman, as everyone on the street knows. He's a character who's very mysterious. He lives in the shadows. You only know about him from things that you hear about, but you don't know if they're true, if there's even the slightest bit of truth to them at all. And he's a very intriguing character. And when there's this whole thing of you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, and how that links to Atticus in the end chapter reading a book of gems, and Scout kind of explaining the story to him, and about how there's this character in the book who is perceived to be one way, but then after a while we find out he's complete another. And I found it very, very, very moving. And I just started crying my eyes out, and it really surprised me. But I think maybe it's just, I connected to this reread on a level that I hadn't connected to the book before. I don't know. But it is an absolutely beautiful, beautiful read. As I said, there are politically incorrect terms in this book. What is very politically incorrect now, but at that time there wouldn't have been. So obviously when you read this, there are those words that come up that you might find shocking, but it's the way it is. It's kind of like Gone with the Wind. It's the language of that time. It's the way it was. Deal with it. But yeah, if you've never read this before, you will come across language that might shock and surprise you, but it's just the way it is. But there's been a recent book, Go Set a Watchman, that came out that I haven't read, so I can't comment on various aspects of it. But obviously there was a big revelation that came out about the one of the key characters, should I say, Atticus Finch, and his views on racism that came out in the media, and it was very, very shocking. And to be honest, now having reread this book, I don't get why Harper Lee decided to do what she's done in Go Set a Watchman. Because the way in which Atticus describes how everyone is the same, how he loves anybody around him, he believes, that everyone should be treated the same, that you shouldn't put somebody down just because of a situation that they're in, just because of the colour of their skin, just because they're hard up financially. How he really stands up for the little guy, and and how with Tom Robinson's case, the whole thing of a black man against a white woman in a courtroom, who's going to win. He says right out, he's never seen a case where a black man won over the white man in the court in Alabama because of the politics. It's the way it is, but how the community responds to him doing it, and they get inundated with food, because these are people who can't afford to buy loads of lavish food, yet they've made him a home cooked meal and delivered it to his house to thank him for doing what he did. He doesn't take money for many of cases that he defends his clients in, because they can't afford it, so they pay him in like nuts and bread and corn, anything that they can possibly do to pay back his services, and he's totally willing to accept that. And he's an absolutely beautiful character. So to hear that Harper Lee has done to him and his views of the world in Go Set a Watchman, I can't accept. I don't know if it's a case of I should read it to be able to, fully get my, my opinion, a proper, well balanced view of the situation, because I haven't read the book, but still, I can't help. Even if I did read it, I think from the initial sentence, my heart would just be going, no, 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 I don't like this, because of the things Atticus says in this book. I can't believe that it's just, the 6-year-old girl misinterpreting what her father's saying, because that's not possible if you read the things that he says to Scout about accepting everybody. Now, the actual story itself, it's very, very interesting, very beautiful, but also very heavy and dark and sinister. And it's very interesting also because it's kind of led on, I think possibly this book has led on to other books being written where it's from the child's perspective. So if you look at of a dark situation, so if you look at a book like The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas, that's a childhood's perspective on the Holocaust. And and the child is about, I think he's about 7 or 8 years old in that situation. So, similar age, it's something very dark and sinister, but it has the childhood light to it. And there are sections of this book where you're just, it's quite joyful. The kids going out playing, trying to get Boo Radley to come out, daring each other to go on Boo Radley's porch and touch the house, because everybody knows that if you touch the house, Boo Radley's house, then that means you're going to be cursed forever, kind of thing. There's some really beautiful moments in this book that aren't just about the weight of the trial and everything. It's innocence and hope and starting, and I think it's also that whole thing of the development of the adults that the child will become, because you see it very, very distinctly in Jem, how the court case really affects him. And afterwards he can't talk to Scout. He gets very angry, he shuts himself off in his room. He can't understand how it's so clear that this man is innocent of this crime, yet the outcome was what it was. He can't understand it. And it's very, very, very interesting read, and I adore the ending. I think the ending is absolutely beautiful. I won't say what it is, I don't want to spoil it for any of you who haven't read it, but the ending chapter, it had me absolutely bawling my eyes out reading it. It was absolutely beautiful. Now, of course, literally like a year after it was published, the film version of To Kill a Mockingbird came out with the fantastic Gregory Peck playing Atticus Finch. This I really, really strongly recommend. It is slightly different than the book in regards to there are some sections that have been taken out, or slightly tweaked, or some scenes are being reduced, but it doesn't lose the integrity of the story. The heart of it, the characters. It really keeps true to the story, and you feel it in the book, but especially in the film, the courthouse scene is absolutely phenomenal. And Atticus gives this absolutely stunning speech to the jury, for them just before they go off to decide, Tom Robinson's fate. He gives this really empowering speech that is so well and so beautifully read by Gregory Peck in this film. You read it in the book, and your mouth's just like completely hanging open. It's absolutely stunning. I'm sure Harper Lee had to rewrite that speech several times to get it to the where it is in the final version. But yeah, the film is absolutely beautiful, and the way how it tells the story, capturing the whole imagination of who is Boo Radley and everything, I really, really strongly recommend it. And I have to say, I think this is one of these stories that once you've read it, it'll never leave you. No matter, even if you never read it again, it will never leave you. And I think that's why it's become such a classic. That's why it's taught in schools. That's why it's made Harper Lee so famous. It's a truly beautiful, beautiful story. And as she says, and it's quoted on the back of this book, shoot all the blue jays you want if you can hit them, but remember it's a sin to kill a mockingbird. And the whole metaphor of who is the mockingbird in the story, I find it stunning. It's wonderful. So I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to obviously in my next video I'll be uploading will be what the announcement of what book 6 will be. I've got actually a few days off this week from work, so it's been absolutely hellish this past month, but I've got a few days off, so I'm hopefully going to be making some videos that aren't just reviews and book announcements, so because I just haven't had the time this past month. It's been absolutely crazy, but I have been obviously thinking about ideas of videos and such in that time, so I've got a few ideas stacked up for videos, and I will be back soon with those. But yeah, the next up will be the announcement of the next video on my book challenge. So I'd love to know what you thought of To Kill a Mockingbird. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Leave me any comments that you want to below. If you want to give me a short representation of your thoughts, give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. It's entirely up to you, but yeah, I'd love to hear what you thought of this amazing read, set in a time that's very different from ours, but you still to this day have a very clear connection to in our society. So yeah, let me know what you think, and I'll be back soon.